You were never meant to live afraid. Salt doesn't fear witches. Witches fear salt. And until you understand why that terrifies them, you will never understand the power sleeping inside you right now. Let me tell you something that will shake the foundation of every lie you've been told about yourself. You are not here to survive. You are here to dominate. Not people, not through violence, but through presence, through purity, through the uncorrupted nature of which you were created to be. Salt preserves, salt purifies, salt heals. And anything that thrives in darkness, in corruption, in decay, it cannot stand where salt stands. That is not superstition. That is spiritual law. And the moment you realize that you were designed to be the salt of this earth, every demon that has been dancing around your destiny will start running for the exit. Listen to me carefully. There is something in you that hell recognizes, but heaven is still waiting for you to discover. You walk around like you are ordinary. You apologize for taking up space. You shrink yourself to fit into rooms that were never built for your dimension. And all the while, forces you cannot see are working overtime to keep you confused about who you really are. Because the day you wake up, the day you stand up in the full stature of your original design, their game is over. You know what salt does? It stops rot. It stops decay. It stops infection. You put salt on a wound, and yes, it stings, but it cleanses. It refuses to let poison spread. Now ask yourself this question. Why would anyone fear something that cleanses? Why would anything run from something that preserves life? I'll tell you why. Because there are forces, there are systems, there are spirits that feed on corruption. They need you rotten. They need you decaying from the inside out. They need you infected with doubt, bitterness, unforgiveness, and fear. Because a preserved person, a purified person, a person standing in their uncorrupted identity, that person cannot be manipulated. You are being lied to about your own significance. You are being told that you are one among billions, random, accidental, and replaceable. That is the first and most dangerous lie ever whispered into the human soul. You are not an accident. Accidents don't come with purpose coded into their DNA. Accidents don't come with gifts, talents, dreams, and a rhythm in their chest that beats to the sound of something greater than survival. You were authored. You were designed. You were released into time with an assignment that only you can fulfill. But here's what they don't want you to know. Your assignment threatens their agenda. Your purity disrupts their plan. Your awakening ends their control. So they throw everything at you. Distractions, addictions, failures that feel fatal, betrayals that break you, loss that leaves you hollow. And all of it, every single bit of it, is designed to do one thing: make you forget what you are made of. You are made of salt. Let me break this down, because religion made it boring and philosophy made it complicated. But the truth is devastatingly simple. Salt in the ancient world was currency. It was wealth. Roman soldiers were paid in salt. That's where we get the word salary. You understand what that means? You are so valuable that empires used your substance as money. You are not broke. You are not worthless. You are currency. You carry value that nations are built on. But you've been convinced you're cheap. You've been told to accept less, expect less, settle for less. And the whole time, you are walking around with the wealth of kingdoms locked inside your identity. Salt was also used in covenants. When two parties made an agreement, they shared salt. It was sacred. It was binding. You were never meant to give yourself to just anyone. You were never meant to enter agreements with people who don't recognize your worth. The reason you've been hurt so many times is not because you love wrong. It's because you gave salt to people who were looking for sugar. They wanted something sweet, something temporary, something to consume. But you are not candy. You don't exist to satisfy cravings. You exist to preserve, to establish, to seal something eternal. Stop letting people treat you like a snack when you are a covenant. Now here's where it gets deep. Salt cannot lose its flavor and still be called salt. You can call it powder. You can call it dust, but you cannot call it salt. When salt loses its essence, it's worthless. It gets thrown out and trampled underfoot. That's not a threat. That's a warning. You were designed with a distinct nature, a specific essence. And the moment you compromise that to fit in, to be liked, to be accepted, you lose the very thing that made you powerful. You want to know why you feel empty even when you're surrounded by people? Because you've been trying to be sugar in a world that needs salt. You've been trying to be sweet when you were called to be strong. You've been diluting yourself, flavoring yourself to match the taste of every room you walk into, and now you don't even recognize your own voice. Let me tell you what happened. Somewhere along the way, you got afraid of your own intensity. You got afraid of being too much, too bold, too direct, too uncompromising. So you learned to smile when you wanted to scream. You learned to stay quiet when you had truth burning in your throat. You learned to blend in when you were born to stand out. And the more you dimmed your light, the more you weakened your salt, the more comfortable hell became with your presence. That's why they fear salt. Because salt doesn't negotiate. It doesn't meet decay halfway. It doesn't say, let me adjust my purity so you feel comfortable corrupting me. Salt walks into the room, and everything that cannot coexist with purity starts manifesting. Have you ever noticed that when you start living right, when you start standing firm, when you start walking in integrity, suddenly everything breaks loose. Suddenly people turn on you. Suddenly opportunities disappear. Suddenly chaos erupts. That's not punishment. That's proof. Proof that you're getting close to something they've been protecting. Because when salt shows up, witches lose power. Let me be clear what I mean. I'm not talking about old women with pointy hats. I'm talking about anything that practices manipulation, anything that operates in darkness, anything that thrives on your ignorance of who you are. Witchcraft is control. It is the use of hidden methods to manipulate outcomes, to dominate wills, to twist reality. And it doesn't just happen in rituals. It happens in relationships. It happens in religion. It happens in systems built to keep you begging for what you already own. You've been under spells you call normal life. You've been hexed by beliefs you thought were your own thoughts. You've been cursed by agreements you made with defeat, with lack, with limitation. And every single one of those spells has one weakness: salt, purity, the uncorrupted you, the you that refuses to bow to fear, the you that refuses to believe the lie, the you that stands in the middle of hell and says, this is not my portion. Salt speaks. Even when you're silent, your presence preaches. You don't have to announce yourself. You don't have to defend yourself. All you have to do is remain. Remain pure. Remain planted. Remain consistent. And watch everything that cannot stand purity flee. But here's the problem. You keep trying to fight battles you were never supposed to fight. You keep arguing with people you were supposed to outlast. You keep defending yourself to people whose opinion was never requested by heaven. You are salt. You don't fight rot. You simply stand there and rot cannot remain. Stop giving energy to things that are beneath your assignment. Stop lowering yourself to argue with voices that have no authority to name you. I need you to hear this because your life depends on it. You have spent years trying to prove you are enough, trying to show you are worthy, trying to convince people you deserve a seat. And the whole time, creation has been waiting for you to simply take your place. Not ask for it. Take it. Because it was assigned before you arrived. You know what the manufacturer knows that the product doesn't? Purpose. A chair doesn't need to prove it's a chair. It was built to hold weight. That's not arrogance. That's design. A lion doesn't need to convince you it's the king of the jungle. It roars once and everything in the forest knows the hierarchy. You are not here to beg for permission to be great. You are here to walk in the authority of what you were made to be. And the moment you do, witches scatter. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who grew up in poverty. Every day he saw his father work 3 jobs and still couldn't feed the family. Every night he heard his mother cry. He made a decision early. He would be different. He would be successful. He would break the cycle. So he studied, he worked, he sacrificed, and when he finally made it, when the money came, when the opportunities came, something unexpected happened. His own family started attacking him. They called him proud. They said he changed. They accused him of forgetting where he came from. And for a moment, he almost believed them. He almost dimmed his light to make them comfortable, until an old man pulled him aside and said, "Son, crabs in a barrel don't hate the crab that escapes. They hate the reminder that they could have climbed out too. Your success is not your sin, it's their mirror. And mirrors don't apologize for reflecting truth." That young man learned something that day. Your light will offend people who chose to stay in darkness. Your growth will irritate people who chose to stay small. Your salt will burn people who chose to stay infected. And that is not your problem. That is theirs. You have been carrying guilt for outgrowing people who refuse to grow. You have been apologizing for healing while others chose to nurse their wounds. You have been shrinking to make space for people who were squatting on your destiny. No more. You don't owe anyone an explanation for becoming who you were always meant to be. Salt seasons. It brings out flavor. It enhances. But it only works when it penetrates, when it gets inside, when it stops sitting on the surface and starts transforming from within. That's what real change looks like. It's not external. It's not cosmetic. It's internal. It's you allowing truth to penetrate the hardened places, the bitter places, the wounded places. And when salt touches a wound, yes, it stings. Yes, it hurts, but it also heals. Stop running from the pain that is trying to purify you. Stop numbing the discomfort that is trying to transform you. Stop medicating the process that is trying to promote you. You are in the fire, not to be destroyed, but to be refined. You are under pressure, not to be crushed, but to become a diamond. Every setback, every betrayal, every loss, it's salt working its way into the wound to make sure it doesn't kill you. You were never supposed to stay where you started. You were supposed to evolve, to expand, to emerge. The caterpillar doesn't apologize to the cocoon. The butterfly doesn't ask permission to fly. And you don't need approval to become who you already are. Now let me tell you why this matters right now. In this moment, in this season of your life, you are at a crossroads. You can feel it. There is a stirring inside you, a restlessness, a knowing that something has to change. You can't keep living the same year over and over and calling it a life. You can't keep repeating the same patterns and expecting different results. You can't keep blaming everyone else for a reality you have the power to shift. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not when things get better, not when you feel ready. Now, right now, while doubt is screaming, while fear is loud, while the odds look impossible, this is when salt proves itself, not in comfort, not in certainty, but in the midst of decay, in the center of chaos, in the face of corruption. You are salt. And salt doesn't work when it stays in the shaker. It works when it's poured out, when it's released, when it's scattered into the place that needs it most. Your life is not meant to be hoarded. Your gifts are not meant to be hidden. Your voice is not meant to be silenced. You were created to be spread, to influence, to impact, to transform. But influence requires presence. And presence requires courage. The courage to show up when it's unpopular. The courage to stand when everyone else is sitting. The courage to speak when silence is safer. That's the price of being salt. You will be misunderstood. You'll be rejected. You will be criticized. Because salt doesn't blend. It doesn't disappear into the meal. You can taste it. You can feel it. And some people will love you for it, but some will hate you for it. And here's the truth. Nobody tells you you cannot be loved by everyone and still fulfill your purpose. You cannot please everyone and still obey your assignment. There will come a moment when you have to choose between approval and obedience, between popularity and integrity, between fitting in and standing out. And in that moment, you will discover whether you are salt or dust. Dust settles. Dust is everywhere. Dust is common. But salt is distinct. Salt is rare. Salt is needed. Not wanted by everyone, but needed by everything. Listen to me. You are tired because you've been trying to meet needs you were never designed to meet. You've been trying to be someone's savior when you were only called to be their salt. You can't save people who don't want to be preserved. You can't fix people who are in love with their brokenness. You can't drag people into purpose who are comfortable in their pit. All you can do is remain salty, remain pure, remain available. And the ones who are ready, the ones who are hungry, the ones who recognize what you carry, they will come. But you have to stop chasing, stop begging, stop convincing. Salt doesn't chase the meal. The meal comes to the salt. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You don't have to audition for rooms you were born to own. You don't have to perform for love that's supposed to be freely given. Stand still, stand firm, stand in your truth, and watch what's meant for you find you. Now here's where the revelation gets radical. You know why witches fear salt? Because salt exposes. It doesn't just preserve and purify, it reveals. In the old days, people would throw salt behind them to reveal if someone was following them in the dark. Salt made the invisible visible. It exposed hidden intentions. It revealed what was lurking in the shadows. When you walk in purity, when you walk in truth, when you walk in the fullness of who you are, you expose lies. You reveal agendas. You uncover what was hidden, and that terrifies everything that has been operating undercover. That's why your presence alone makes some people uncomfortable. You're not doing anything to them. You're just being you. But your light reveals their darkness. Your integrity reveals their compromise. Your peace reveals their chaos. You are a walking expose, and you don't even have to say a word. Just show up. Just stand. Just be. And watch how hell panics. But here's the warning. The moment you start walking in your true identity, the attacks will intensify. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something right. The closer you get to your purpose, the louder hell gets. The nearer you get to break through, the thicker the resistance becomes. That's not a sign to quit. That's a sign you're close. When a woman is in labor, the hardest part is right before delivery. The pain is unbearable. The pressure is crushing. And in that moment, many women want to give up. They say, I can't do this. But the midwife knows better. She knows that the intensity means the baby is coming. The pain is not the problem. The pain is proof. Proof that something is about to be born. You are in labor right now. You have been carrying something for so long, a dream, a vision, a promise, and it's been heavy. It's been painful. It's been exhausting. But don't you dare give up now. Not when you're this close. Not when the pain you're feeling is actually proof that your moment is coming. Push. One more time. Push through the doubt. Push through the fear. Push through the exhaustion. Because on the other side of this pain is the life you've been praying for. Salt never loses its value. It doesn't matter how long it sits. It doesn't expire. It doesn't spoil. It remains salt. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are still salt. And as long as you remain, as long as you refuse to lose your essence, your moment is still coming. I don't care what died. I don't care what failed. I don't care who left. You are still here. You are still breathing. You are still fighting. That means your story is not over. That means your purpose is still active. That means heaven still has plans for you that hell cannot cancel. So get up, wipe your face, square your shoulders, and remember who you are. You are not a victim. You are a victor. You are not defeated. You are destined. You are not weak. You are salt. And every witch, every demon, every force that has been dancing on your destiny is about to find out what happens when salt wakes up. You were born for such a time as this. Not when everything is perfect. Not when you have it all figured out. But now, in the mess, in the middle, in the madness. This is your moment. This is your platform. This is your stage. And all of heaven is watching, waiting, wondering if you will finally believe what has been said about you since before you were born. You are salt. You are light. You are powerful beyond measure. And it's time to stop living beneath your design. Stop apologizing for your existence. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop diluting your truth to fit their narrative. Stand up, speak up, show up in the full measure of who you were created to be. Let the world taste and see. Let them feel your presence. Let them witness what happens when a child of destiny stops playing small and steps into their divine assignment. Because when salt finally remembers what it is, when it stops pretending to be sugar, when it refuses to be dust, hell trembles, darkness flees, and witches, they run for their lives. This is your time. This is your turn. This is your moment. Not to survive, but to thrive. Not to exist, but to dominate. Not to fit in, but to stand out. You are salt, and the world is dying for a taste of what you carry. So stop hiding. Stop holding back. Stop playing it safe. Pour yourself out. Season this generation. Preserve this moment. Purify this atmosphere. Because you were never meant to stay in the shaker. You were meant to be spread, to influence, to transform, to change everything you touch. Now go and be the salt you were born to be.